Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've got Darren Lilla here with the Success Vortex, where positivity meets. And guys, this is a really exciting time because I get to share with you today a very exclusive and private VIP interview with Desmond soon. And what's so great about this story, guys, is that, I talk a lot about how we as human beings, we go through these peaks and we go through these valleys in our life. And what people don't really understand about the path to success, the path to your breakthrough, is that your biggest breakthroughs, your biggest awareness actually comes in those valleys in your life. It's not up at the top of the peak where you have your major breakthroughs, guys, just so you know. So if you're a person right now that is in one of those valleys that's brought you here to find out more about how you can totally transform every single area of your life by tapping into your subconscious mind, by actually cleaning up all that stuff that's in your subconscious mind that you may not even know that was in there. Guys, once you learn how to do this, you will literally open up the gateway to a brand new reality. So welcome to the call, Desmond.
Darren, it's a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you having me on this call.
Absolutely. Desmond, you have a really super motivational story, and it's a story that I think is going to help a lot of people because you've been to serious levels of success, and you've also been to serious levels of hardship along that life journey. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and what was going on in your life before you got subconscious mind tapping and you tapped into your personal breakthrough.
Wow, okay. Well, my story is pretty diverse, but I'll give you the shortened down version. Being born in Singapore, I grew up in Canada at the age of 12, all the way till the age of 23, 24. And then I immigrated. Well, I didn't immigrate, sorry. We moved out to Japan. I went out there by myself to adventure, business, romance, whatever it was. Something pulled me out to Tokyo. I went out to Japan, and I basically did everything, out there to get a job, and I even started some businesses. And the first few companies, I actually raised quite a lot of money, $500,000 at first. That company went bankrupt after 2 years. In the process of doing that, I lived the high life. We had lots of money to spend, so we did the drugs, the sex, the parties, everything. It was great. In your late 20s, if you have that kind of money, you're enjoying life a lot. But we also had failures. We went through the lack of cash flow and the bankruptcy and the panics about how to pay back investors and the desperation of finding a way out of no way, always being that resourceful, sort of street smarts kind of kid. And, we jumped out of the frying pan and went right into the fire. It seemed to be the story of my life. I got married. I had a wife. We were both very entrepreneurial. She's very hardworking, like a workaholic, but her family was involved in the food businesses. So just before, all the economy crashed, we were opening up restaurants, and we, were opening up like these $500,000 restaurants, and we were raising investors once again. And I brought those investors in, and everything seemed very fairy tale. Me and my wife were lovebirds. Even though I'd enjoyed lots of other girls before her, I was very set on my wife. We were very happy, and we got married. And literally, as soon as we got married, in fact, we had 3 weddings. So we had these fairy tale weddings. We had 3 weddings, one in Vancouver, one in Tokyo, one in Korea. And then what happened was we got right into work. We started becoming workaholics. And work started taking a toll on us, all the pressure of having the investors and having these restaurants open and the work. And then there was this other partner that got involved with my wife, and it was a guy. And jealousy naturally took its toll on me because she was spending lots of time with him, late nights, and then she got pregnant. Okay, she got pregnant with my own son. Okay, so there was no doubt about that. But we had our first son. He was born. And even though he was born, us working together did not quite work out. And what happened was I went back to the corporate world. I worked in Goldman Sachs. I worked at all the Fortune 500 companies in Tokyo. So I was whining, dining, dressed very well. My suits had, custom made suits and everything, enjoying the good life. But in reality, we were not, because my son was born. I was doing drugs. It escalated even more. There was cocaine. There was MDMAs. There was all the the amphetamines and stuff like that. Of party life, nightlife, drinking. Wake up, get home at 5 a.m. Wake up at 7 a.m. Go back to work. 18-hour days, 15-hour days were very typical. 7 days a week. And so, needless to say, my health was taking a toll. I got sick. Okay, so that was probably the biggest shock. My first son was born. My wife was now pregnant with my second son, and I got really ill and could not go to work. I had to go to the hospital. I was hospitalized, and it was during that time that the doctors discovered something. Okay, let's just put it at that. I don't want to put any energy into it. And the doctors discovered something. They discovered that I possibly could die. I was in a high risk category. And they were telling me that my life expectancy was probably going to be for about another 10 years, give or take. And they would recommend for me to get on all kinds of crazy meds and treatments and protocols and things like that, which I was really not keen on. But let me just take you to that moment. I want you to imagine this. You're a father of a brand new 1-year-old baby, and you've got another one in your wife's tummy. And your whole life you've dreamed of being a dad. That's been one of my dreams, my passion. I've always wanted to be a dad. Even in my 20s, I always fantasized about getting married and being that good dad. Only to be told once now I become a brand new dad that I'm going to die in about 10 years.
Wow.
That shut everything down. That was a kick in the balls. I remember that day very specifically. I remember getting that phone call from the doctor, and I was driving and I almost crashed the car, literally, because it was like someone punched me in my gut. It knocked the wind right out of me. I did not know, my head was spinning. I was blur, and I'd done all kinds of drugs, so I knew what it was like to feel stoned, and it felt like I was stoned. Everything slowed down. I got really surreal at that moment. Nothing seemed to matter, and I did not know who to turn to, who to talk to, who to disclose that information. So needless to say, it was a really dark time of my life. I confided in my wife, I confided in my parents, my in-laws, and I honestly felt like everything was going to collapse. I thought my wife was going to divorce me, not wanting to be around a husband that's going to pass away. It was going to ruin our relationship. She was going to take my kids away. Everything was falling around me. Even though we had money, we looked good and everything. And so my quest for health became a priority in my life. And I started to look for the natural cures and holistic methods. And right around that time was when I basically stumbled, that in addition to a lot of law of attraction and looking for ways to think myself out of this situation. And that's when basically, I tapped into this training, right? I tapped into this subconscious mind tapping. And initially, at first, I must admit, I was skeptical. I mean, I was one of those kind of guys. I thought all this stuff was a bit of mumbo jumbo, a little bit of snake oil and whatnot. But so, I was skeptical, right? But I really had no other choice. It was either that or go down the route and take the pharmaceuticals, or I was looking for a way to, I didn't need to cure myself. I just wanted to be more healthy and live a more fulfilling life. The stopwatch started ticking for me. Okay, and I knew that if I was to die in the next 10 years, how am I going to make my next 10 years the best 10 years of my life? How am I going to give my kids, my wife, the best 10 years of my life? But let me just share another part of the story, Darren, and that was at that time as well, my wife and me were not doing very well. We were fighting every day. There were some of the most horrific arguments, the most hurtful words coming from a person that is supposed to be your spouse, the person that loves you. You see a devil in them. You see a monster in them. You can't even imagine this was the person that you married, because they hate you so badly. It's as if they're your worst enemy and they want to cut off your head. They want to run a knife through your heart. It's that badly. We were fighting that badly, and it was the most painful time of my life, because everything I dreamed of, my family, was all coming apart. My marriage was coming apart. My health was coming apart. I was going to lose my kids because I was probably going to die, right? Forget about the money and the businesses. I had no time to think about that. I had no time to, I was not getting much sleep. So it was all falling apart around me. And I was desperate. I was looking for something to make it work. And I needed quick solutions. I needed something to work right away. So, that was where I was at, literally. Darren, and you know my story. You and me have chatted. I've confided in you many times how, that happened, and how the subconscious mind tapping this, it really helped me to really instantly bring about a massive change in my life. It's so weird. It's hard to explain to people, but it's like I was reborn. Like I woke up. It's almost like the movie The Matrix, and like seeing the reality of what, and realizing I could bend the spoon. That was my, I was so desperate. I just looked for anything. All I wanted to do was save my marriage. All I wanted to do was to live the next 10 years of my life to be happy, right? You know, if all I had was 10 years. And so, yeah, that's how I kind of got into that situation, Darren.
Wow. So let me ask you this, Desmond. You know, when you first you know, sort of heard about the concept of subconscious mind tapping, what was it that made you want to go through it? Was it personal development? Was it, you know, finding that sort of unlocking the secret to abundance? Was it, you know, getting to your personal breakthrough? What was the real driver that said, I'm doing this, I'm taking action right now, and I'm going to just throw my hat over the wall and do this? What was it that was the driver?
It was all of the above, but most predominantly it was, number one, I mean, all that wealth and all that personal development was not going to mean anything to me if I wasn't going to live long enough. So I was looking for something, a mind over matter, you know, to beat the odds. The doctors were telling me I'm going to die. I had this thing in my mind that said, I'm going to do it, that's it, period. I'm going to prove these suckers wrong. I'm going to make them eat them words. I'm going to prove to them that I'm going to live to a ripe old age of 80, 90, 100. Right? It's bullshit what they're telling me. It's not going to happen, right? And I'm going to do it the natural way. I'm going to meditate, do whatever it takes, but I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to win this thing. So that was the first thing, was to really protect my health so I could be here for my kids. That's all it meant to me. You know, if my wife and me divorced, it didn't matter at that time. All I wanted to do was just to be there for my kids. It broke my heart. I could not swallow. It made me want to vomit, thinking that I was going to leave my kids, you know, and die early on them. So that was my number one priority. That's all I wanted first. Number two was, I felt that I was a loser to my wife. I felt I was a loser husband to my wife. At that time, I was struggling. I was a struggling entrepreneur. I had several failures already happen. She was doing her restaurant business and things, and I was a partner with it. I didn't get along with the guy that she was partnered with. I felt she looked up to him more than she looked up to me. So I was naturally feeling insecure. I was feeling, you know, as a man, I didn't feel like I was wearing the pants in the family. And so, yes, the money was important. That's what motivated me to even work harder and to find solutions and to somehow be able to manifest wealth and luck and, you know, and things and businesses and opportunities and business partners to come into my life so I could show her that I'm a winner, right? That's how badly I wanted it. I wanted it to prove to her, to win her back in my life, to show her I'm not a loser, right? Not only in the health side, but also on the financial side, that I could be a provider and could also be a winner and be her hero in her life again. So wow. Those are my reasons right there.
So let me ask you this. When you started to go through some of this training and you started hearing about, you know, quantum physics and the wave particle theory and these different, you know, ideas that our human brain is actually programmed to self-destruct, what was starting to go through your mind? Did you have any reflections back into your timeline? Did you have any aha moments where you went, oh my God, this just makes sense? What started happening? Did you feel anything shift in your body? Did your mind open up? Did a veil come off, like a cloud was lifted? What started happening for you once you tapped into this information?
Exactly like you said, the veil coming off. It was like it happened within sort of like a 2-3 day period. As I was going through the stuff, it literally, like you said, the veil raised off everything. It's almost like in the Matrix movie and Neo starts to be able to see the code. It's as if I started to see the code of life. I started to understand how everything's possible, that I'm responsible, that I was the one creating everything, that I actually manifested almost everything in my life. And yes, there were many different cognitions and aha moments. I get goosebumps just talking about it, but I went, like, there were many times when I realized, there were times, things I had forgotten, completely forgotten. I stuff it somewhere so deep in my head, in my subconscious, that came out. And there were times when I cried, and there were times it was like just sheer embarrassment or unworthiness and simple things that happened in my life that I completely forgotten about in my childhood. Things that some people had said to me, my parents, people I looked up to, right? And I don't blame them. I love them and everything, but I don't think they knew what they were doing either, and I don't think they realized the impact and the long-lasting effect it had on me, and how that constantly kept me in a mode, stuck in a rut of a certain vibration, a certain, that was actually self-sabotaging to myself. And I then all of a sudden I put the pieces together, and I realized that it was because of those small things that actually led me down the path to where I was at in my life. and I'd always been overcompensating, trying to cover for those things. And that's just a patch, but it didn't actually solve the issue. So when I went through the training, yeah, there was a lot of cognitions, aha moments, and it was like these downloads, like all of a sudden a wealth of information. I saw the world in a different light. It was like being reborn again, like having a second chance in my life. You know, that was the old Desmond. That was like a trial run, right? I've learned from those mistakes. Now I'm able to, with a clean slate, go forward, you know, and that was the exciting part about it. I really love that.
Wow. So let me ask you this, because, you know, I mean, I can tell just from your confidence, your self-esteem, how you're talking very succinctly, very, you know, precisely about these two different realities, from the reality that you were in to the reality that you are in now. And I know that you've done a lot of personal development, Desmond. I know that you've been to a lot of seminars, you've read a lot of books, you've gone to, you know, probably Tony Robbins events and T. Harv Eker events and Secrets of the Millionaire Mind events and things of that nature. Give us an idea. How did the ease of going through this particular product compare to some other trainings that you've gone through in the past? Was it easy to take in this message and digest it? Was it easy to understand and apply it into your life? How did it compare to some of these 4 or 5 day, you know, masterminds or workshops that you'd gone through, these intensives? And what was the comparison? What was the comparison in the results that you were able to start to generate so fast?
All right. Well, I mean, you hit it on the nose. I think every single name you mentioned there, I've gone to one of their things. I've been at a live event where I purchased their courses. I've had personal mentorships with many of these big names, and all of them are fantastic. I mean, all of them were really great. There's a famous saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I've seen this a lot, being one of those that's been on that circuit. I've seen a lot of people who are looking, they're seeking. And even though they attend this, does not always mean that they're ready to implement or to have that cognition, that breakthrough. So I'm not putting down any of these other courses. Many of them are very expensive, by the way. And you know what? The first thing that came to my mind is that this is very inexpensive in comparison to many of the other ones, right? We all know the granddaddy of them all, the Anthony Robbins, the Tony Robbins ones. Love him to death. I've been mentored by him, by his son, you know, and fantastic, right? I highly recommend that. But not everyone can afford his stuff. And his stuff too, sometimes it just going through once, twice does not even help. You're gonna have to do it several times before you actually get that breakthrough moment. With this, I found it almost instantaneously. 1, inexpensive. 2, it happened very quickly. Maybe I was just ready. You know, I can't say it for everyone, but I know, but in my case, I was ready. I was willing, I was open, I was teachable. It was like, for me, it seemed like I was in the right place at the right time. Okay, so however, I mean, like, if anyone's watching this interview, I mean, like, if you know yourself, you know if you're in the right place at the right time. Only you know that. And it's kind of like everything seemed to make sense. I was like, I need this right now. Okay, and give you, at first, you know, there's a couple of concepts I had to kind of, you know, listen carefully, or I had to really think about it a bit to kind of, but the moment I did, I was able, I'm a very visual person, so when I could visualize things, you know, like the 3D, you know, all that kind of stuff, then it made sense. I could internalize it, then I was able to apply it. I could actually pull up memories of real things in my mind. I could connect it. Then I could see what all these other programs, a lot of times what they do is they just kind of talk about, it just seems very vague, but doesn't give you any concrete, like, what to do. And I don't think many of these trainings I've ever been to actually empowered me to actually feel like I'm in the driver's seat. I'm the one actually in control here, right? Given the Tony Robbins ones, a lot of them had some good stuff, and a lot of other personal development stuff was all good. I think a lot of that all were precursors, and they were great appetizers to lead up to this. Maybe that's why I was ready for this when I actually took it.
Wow, wow, and that's really exciting. And you know, guys, if you're just watching this, if you've watched any of the other students that have gone through this training and implemented these strategies into their lives, what you'll notice is a lot of similarities here. A lot of people that have attended personal development seminars, masterminds, 4, 5 day, 1 week whole events that they go through. But the similar type of thing comes back to me that they say was, yeah, I got a lot of information, but did it profoundly impact my life? Did it shift? Was there a shift in my reality to open up this other gateway so that I'm in the driver's seat, that I can create my reality and I actually have the tools to be able to do it? So Desmond, let me ask you this. When you went to start applying this information with subconscious mind tapping, what are some of the areas of your life that actually started to change right away? Did it work fast for you? Did it work? I mean, what was happening? Did it take a couple of days, couple of weeks? What were some of the areas that happened with personal breakthroughs? Did you experience financial breakthroughs, relationship, health, career? What started happening in your life?
Awesome, man. I raised my hand just now because I wanted to say that, right? All these other things that we went through, I felt like while you were there, it was fantastic and tons of emotion, lots of things happening, a lot of cognition, but within it fizzled out. It kind of faded out within a few days after. All of them had the same pattern. Like, some of them lasted a little bit longer and I was able to kind of take action. But what I found with this training was, it didn't just fizzle out. I had the tools I was able to implement, and I started implementing. And in fact, I was so excited as I was going through stuff. I wanted to even just stop and just go start implementing right away. I was so excited, right? I felt literally like this. It's almost as if you discovered you're a mutant and you have mutant powers now, and all of a sudden you have these magical powers to go do things, right? But now you've been given this great, honor and this great power. Do you use it for good or do you use it for bad? And so the first thing I wanted to get fixed up in my life, obviously, was my marriage with my wife. So yes, right away, I started applying these Jedi mind tricks, as some people might call it. And it was almost comical because only I knew that I had this, and I was experimenting because, quite frankly, I was still a little bit skeptical, right? But I wanted to see if it really worked. And it worked. It was funny. We would be having like these arguments and stuff like that. And it was almost as if it was a different person in her body. It was as if she suddenly became lovable. She started apologizing, which she never did before. So these are the kind of things only I would know. And we'd be driving the car, and all of a sudden I was so shocked at how fast the concepts, the principles, that once you apply the techniques, it actually happens. Now here's my disclaimer: it's not going to work identical for everyone. This was my results, okay? Because I put enough energy and thought and I practiced the methods involved. But I saw, maybe I subconsciously conjured it up, but I saw a distinct change in my wife. Her personality changed. She softened up. She became more open. We stopped arguing as much, right? Next was the financial. In 1 week, in 6 days, I got the quantifiable results for this. In 6 days, I took $300 and turned it into just over $12,000. Not a lot of money. But when you consider back in those days, I was under massive financial pressure and debt. That $300 was all I was clinging on to. In fact, at one point, which I didn't even mention in my story, I had the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza, coming after me. I owed them just under $100,000 cash instantly. I mean, like, Darren, how many people could you pick up the phone and just say, and I know you know a lot of wealthy people, you're extremely wealthy and you have a lot of wealthy friends, but how many people could you actually pick up the phone and say, I need to borrow $100,000 cash. Can you wire it over, telex transfer it over to my bank account here in Japan? I need to borrow and pay off the mafia. It wasn't like a payment plan. It wasn't like a mortgage, and it wasn't like a student loan. They wanted a briefcase with $100,000 cash. Otherwise, I was going to lose fingers. They were banging on my door already. I had 2 young babies in the house. Like the stress, I was vomiting blood back then, right? Well, I started to apply this. I had 24 hours to come up with that money. I exhausted every single option. Yet somehow or the other, I found myself applying the techniques, calming myself down, tapping into my subconscious, and like that, it happens. When it happens, Napoleon Hill's even talked about this in some of his books and stuff. When you hit that right frequency, it happens amazingly fast. In fact, it happens so fast, it's almost scary. You almost don't believe it. That's how fast it happens, right? People have won lotteries. People have, all kinds of things have happened. Miracle cures have happened because of using this kind of like power, good power, in the right way. So for me on the financial side, having like windfalls, like money like that coming in from 300 to 10,000 was 12,000, but I lost some of that money. So it became actually 10,000. And then having enough money to suddenly pay off the mafia, and a whole different solution, which I never in my imagination ever thought I could do. So that was it. Yeah, the financial happened. Then guess what? The health, right? The health was the first thing I talked about. I kept going for these, I had to go for these checkups, regular checkups. And the doctors were saying, no, your health, the condition still exists, but for some reason it's dormant. It's not manifesting. It's not getting bigger. It's not getting worse. The numbers that they were giving me all seemed like mumbo jumbo, but what I could understand was the numbers weren't changing. It's like my health wasn't getting any worse, but I wasn't getting any better either. But for me, that was happiness, because that was already, at least I was able to stop that negative downward fall in my health and just kind of bring it to a par, bring it to, a neutral. And so now what my goal has been is I've been working on this is actually to now take it up and actually to start completely reversing the whole effect, right? So yeah, I'm excited. Things have worked out massively and I've got the quantifiable results for it.
Well, what's really, I got to tell you this, man, because I'm so proud of you, pal. I just in this last month, okay, you and I, we hung out in Nashville. We didn't even know that we were in the same city, and we met in Nashville. We hung out. We spent some good quality time together, and I remember sitting down and going over some concepts and ideas, really about quantum physics and really how to use this. I call it technology because it's not just a concept. This is scientific. This is laboratory research that proves how wealth is actually created, how we make our realities that we talk about in subconscious mind tapping. And from that point, literally from that point, moving forward, this last like 45 days or so, your content, your personal development, your leadership, your income, it's just literally gone like this. Like literally, I mean, it's just been like this light bulb has gone on, and you've taken your whole reality to a completely different level. And I see you on Facebook, I see you on the news feed with videos and content and motivation. And I mean, it's completely been it's about 45 days, man. And I got to tell you, I'm really proud of you because it's amazing to see that type of transformation take place. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Can I add to that as well? In the last 45 days, I've been able to become best friends with a billionaire, with several millionaires, okay? 3 of them in particular. I can name all 3 of them. So a billionaire and several multimillionaires. In addition to all of that, right? That was just some of the things. TV interviews, being invited to host a major event with over 600 delegates, of which I received a whole bunch of, kickback and, and reward financially. I was monetized for that. So those were just like, and like, it happens really fast. Like you said, I think you once told me this, you taught me this, but all of a sudden when you hit that thing, everything starts happening all at once, right? And it seems like coincidences, but it's not, because like you said, these are actual scientific techniques and I'm applying it. Now, just like martial arts, it's not, I'm not a black belt right away, but I'm applying and I'm getting better and better. But it's that every single step I do it, the confidence keeps building and it snowballs even more and more. So yeah, the sky's the limit, man. That's why I made that video today. The sky's the limit, right? Anything's possible.
Fantastic. So let me ask you this. Yeah, I got chills right now. I'm serious. You're talking about all this stuff. And what happens for me as I get into this vibration, right? We talk about this and how to tap in to this specific vibrational frequency. Success. A lot of people don't understand this. Success is a radio broadcast frequency. And once you actually can tune your body and you learn how to, like this, turn your body into this vibration, goosebumps all the way down the whole body, right down to all throughout my legs and everything, that's just going broadcasting out to the electrons. And it's amazing, guys. I'm telling you this. You could probably watching this, you can hear it in the tone. You can hear it. You can feel it right through the screen of what I'm talking about. So Desmond, let me ask you this. Who is, like, what type of a person would you recommend this training to? Who should actually, get this training?
Anyone. I mean, like, okay. And I know that's a broad answer, but anyone. I mean, anyone, you just got to be open-minded though, okay? And like I said, when it came, I was probably the least likely person because I was skeptical and everything, and I was pretty desperate. I was in a situation where I was blaming everyone. And I had exhausted all my options. I'd exhausted everything. I felt exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically. So, you know, many times you can see that a lot of the stuff that I do in the content I put out, it's got that slogan, turning setbacks into comebacks. I think that if someone is out there that's listening to this, and I know that this is going to reach the right people, because my intention is set to reach those people, that those people who have setbacks right now, but they're not the kind of people that have setbacks that are like, oh, cry me a river and feel sorry for me kind of thing, because that's not who I was. I was not someone who was in a feel sorry for me. I was one of those people that was going to find a way out of no way. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor, right? I will survive, right? And I'm a champion. You know, if you've got that in your heart, you know deep down in your heart, your destiny is to be something. This is not my destiny. You're in a situation where you're going like, this is not my reality. This is not what I saw my life, you know, turning out to be. Then you want to definitely plug into this, because this is actually what you've been waiting for. You needed to go through that dip in your life. You know, the dip, your adversity is actually your advantage right now. The adversity you're going through is not an adversity. It's meant to be. In your life, it's meant to be that you're there so it can trigger you for this. This is the message you have been waiting for your entire time. That was the message I was waiting for right at that time, and I was in the right place at the right time. I took action. So yes, people, you know, if you're a single parent, you've had a abusive family, if you're owing lots of money, you're in massive, like, insurmountable debt, this will help you. If you're looking to start up a business but can't seem to get it off the ground, always failing, this is going to help you. If you got low self-esteem, confidence issues, this is going to help you. All these people, if you got health issues, this is going to help you. That's it. I mean, I could probably come up with 100 more others, Darren, but yeah, man, I'm excited.
Awesome, awesome.
And oh, it happened really fast, yeah, like in a very short period of time, right, mind you. So, but I was willing to learn, and I applied it right away.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, you know what? This is stuff, quite honestly, you can see it in a person's right here, in the physiology in their body of their conviction. Now, why is that? The reason that is because they have experienced such an incredible life transformation from one reality to a complete opposite reality, from health problems to healthy, from financial breakdown to abundance, meeting billionaires and millionaires, from a failed marriage or failing and arguing to getting to peace and forgiveness. Guys, these are two contrasting realities that we all have access to once you understand how to use this information and apply it into your life. So what I would encourage you to do is this. If you're one of those people that really wants that breakthrough, you've been to personal development seminars, you've read these books, you've listened to the audios, you know something's missing. It's like this deep-rooted something's not right. What's going on? And you can't figure it out. This is literally like putting a key and unlocking that lock and opening up the gateway to this light that shines into your life, that shines into your reality, where everything starts. It's like they talk about the stars aligning. This is what happens, guys. This is what happens when you get subconscious mind tapping. So what I would encourage you to do is this. Click the link below. Throw your hat over the wall. If you're one of those people that really wants life change, take action, get subconscious mind tapping, apply the strategies, and I look forward to hearing your story on an upcoming interview soon. So you've got Darren Little here with the Success Vortex. I look forward to meeting you in person one day, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Bye for now.